What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here in this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, with land hopefully on the horizon within the next 2 months here or so, I wanted to take a look at what land would actually solve, and maybe more importantly, what it won't solve. So there's several, assets or just tokens that we have in the ecosystem that are all obviously very, very much inflated. There's a very high circulating supply on them. And I just wanted to go through them very quickly and then actually focus in on a specific one, which I think a lot of people are hoping will be solved, but in my opinion, will not be. So you have DEC, SPS, vouchers. You also have the node licenses. And then, of course, there are cards. Now, again, asset prices are down or the values are down across the board because we just have so much of everything in the ecosystem. So a lot of this is tied together. And when you think about what land is going to require and what it can actually do, let's rule out the ones right away that aren't going to work. And that's going to be vouchers, and that's going to be node licenses. There's no direct connection between land and vouchers and node licenses. Where I do think land could actually have a significant impact is on DEC, and due to the flywheel and the interlinking of SPS and DEC, there could be some effect on SPS in the mid to hopefully long term if we can get that flywheel going. It all depends on how much land utilization there is, but DEC is probably the main thing that is going to be affected by this. And we saw it even with land phase 1. The demand for DEC was so high, we got close to peg, and then obviously everything is sold off since because there's still too much out there. We're still sitting at 4.7 billion tokens, and that is just on Hive. So the last thing comes down to cards. Now, clearly, there's a lot of cards out there. There are still, 3 million Chaos Agent packs that are circulating, not opened. There's 2 million, almost 2 million Riftwatcher packs that are sitting on the shelf. So they haven't even been open or even purchased yet. And we have another 150,000 circulating. But here is why I think cards are going to be a major, I don't want to say miss, but I don't know what other word to say. Like, land is supposed to soak up all of these cards, but I'm going to share with you a very specific number here that I think is going to, at least it blew my mind because I didn't realize just how crazy it was. But if you take a look at the reward soulbound cards or soulbound reward cards, right now we haven't gotten, I think the assumption is that we will be able to use soulbound reward cards as well as gladiator cards on land. Now, here's the thing. 150,000 plots. They can each use up to 5 cards. It's very easy math. 750,000 monsters. Now, that being said, not monsters, but 750,000 cards, summoners or monsters. Now, that being said, ideally, I think we would soak up a lot off the market if those monsters were maxed, but we are assuming that full land utilization, all 150,000 plots, is going to happen. And if we look at the current cards, right, like I just told you, there's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of Riftwatcher cards that aren't even open yet, let alone on the market. But when you look at the soulbound reward cards, here is the number that to me is actually quite devastating. There's 11 million soulbound reward cards. So we wouldn't even need to touch chaos, Riftwatchers, alpha, beta, untamed, orbs, dice, whatever it is. We could actually just use only the soulbound reward cards, and we'd have many times over, right? There's 750,000 slots and almost 12 million cards. Now, I'm not BCX, 12 million cards. There's 28 million total BCX that's out there. So when I look at this, it's just like, okay, we're going to make some assumptions here. I would assume that most people who are playing are probably trying to level up their cards. So at this point, it's like, I don't think that there's a bunch of 1 BCX cards out there. Now, there could still be a lot of people who are botting the account, hoping that these cards have value in the future and playing the long game with them and then just keeping single BCXs in the account until the day to unlock actually arrives. That could definitely be happening, and it probably is. But even still, even if there's a lot of them that are 1 BCX, like 750,000 isn't even 1/12 of this, right? So when you think about that math, it's like less than 10%, less than 8% in terms of the overall amount of cards that are required versus the cards that just exist from a reward or soulbound reward card circulating supply. So here's the thing. I don't know how it's all going to play out necessarily, but the fact that there's just that many cards that are not even considered NFTs yet and can be used on land. I didn't even look at gladiators, but I'm a little afraid to. But just the fact that we can look at that and see that there's so much there kind of signals to me that cards are still going to be very much in oversupply once land is out. Now, I'm just trying to be realistic, share the numbers with you here. I do hope that there is a move or some kind of clarity that we cannot use soulbound reward cards. But I'm just going based off of what was said in recent town halls, that there's no reason that we shouldn't be able to use soulbound reward cards and gladiator cards in land, or on land, I should say. So that's all that's all I wanted to share in this video. I don't think we really need to dig into any of the other sets because we know there's a lot of cards out there. But just the fact that we can use soulbound reward cards, even for me, right? There's a lot of soulbound reward cards that are cool, but I'm not really using them. And while I don't necessarily have them maxed out, if I can save a couple of bucks because I don't need to go out and buy them off the second, or buy cards off the secondary market, and I can just immediately start working land, well then what's my incentive to ever actually replace the cards by buying something off the market when I know that I can slowly over time continue to level them up? So that's kind of where my head is at. You know, the soulbound reward cards, I think, were a great idea. They are a great idea in terms of reducing the amount of extractable rewards on an immediate basis, but they do need to be looked at from a land perspective, because if they're included with land, I mean, even if they're not included with land, I think we still have issues. But the fact that as of now, it seems as though they're going to be included with land, I really think that, that the card situation post-August, September, whenever land 1.5 is out, is still going to be an issue for us. But that's all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.